The proclamation that I am about to sign outlines the history and accomplishments of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Believe me, it makes for impressive reading. But I couldn't help thinking this morning that no document or official history of the exploits of the men and women of the FBI could ever really capture what the Bureau, what the letters FBI themselves mean to the people whose way of life you were sworn to serve and protect. To the American people, you're a legend, and that is rightfully so.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and welcome to this month's live from at the Reagan Library. Remember, we do these on the first Wednesday of every month. Now, of course, this is not the first Wednesday of January. We had some scheduling difficulties last week, so thank you for tuning in today. You may recall, if you watch these regularly, that back in August of 2021, we came to you live from our brand new exhibition, FBI from Al Capone to Al Qaeda. And during that live from, we said that the exhibition closed on January 9th of 2022. Well, we're super excited to announce that due to popular demand, the exhibit has been extended and it is now open through February 27th, 2022. You may recall that the FBI exhibition FBI from Al Capone to Al Qaeda shares the storied career of the FBI from inception to its modern-day fight against domestic terrorism. It truly is a must-see exhibition. It's the first time and maybe the only time that all of these extraordinary artifacts are together at the same time. You really do need to come out and see it. So since we're extending the exhibition, we thought it might be fun to share a handful of other artifacts and cases here on display that we didn't show you last time. And please do remember, we take your questions at the end of every episode. So please put your questions in the comment section below. I would love to answer them, whether they're on the Reagan Library or the FBI exhibit. We'll get to them at the end of the episode. So where am I right now? I am standing in a full-scale, exactly decorated two-size replica of Ted Kaczynski's cabin in Montana, a 10 by 12 cabin. You may recall that Ted Kaczynski was the UNAbomber. The case went from, started bombing people in 1978, I believe, wasn't captured until 1996, and this is how he lived in Montana. No electricity, no running water. This is where he was building his bombs. This is where he was researching his victims. So we wanted to recreate this for you. But yes, this is a recreation, but we have a lot of authentic artifacts about the UNAbomber as well. Now, why UNAbomber? The FBI assigns a name to all of its cases. When Ted Kaczynski first started bombing, he was targeting university professors. That's the UN in UNAbomber. Then he started targeting airline pilots. That's the A. And of course, he was sending bombs. So the FBI named this case the UNAbomber case. There were 2,417 suspects in the 18-year case. And of the 2,417 suspects, Ted Kaczynski was number 2,416. Now, how do we know this? We were fortunate enough to actually interview the FBI agent who arrested Ted Kaczynski. That interview is playing in this gallery. In fact, we interviewed over a dozen FBI agents associated with the various cases we tell in this exhibition, and all of those interviews play throughout the entire gallery. So it's not just artifacts and story on wall. You're hearing from the actual FBI agents who researched the cases, perhaps found the evidence that solved the case, arrested the suspect. It's a great addition to this exhibition. So I came to you from the cabin. Now, the cabin is a replica cabin. That's because the real cabin is owned and still exists within the FBI. But how was he caught? Well, he wanted everyone to understand why he was bombing. The technology was bad. So he wrote a 200-page manifesto that he sent to various newspapers, including the New York Times. And he said that if the New York Times didn't print the manifesto, that he would continue his bombing. This is the actual manifesto. We have page 1 and page 2 on display. The New York Times agreed to print it, the day it's printed, his sister-in-law, Linda, who was married to his brother David, Linda's sitting at the kitchen table, she's reading the newspaper, and she starts reading the manifesto. And she clearly recognized the sayings and the thoughts and the mannerisms of the way in which the words were put together as that of her brother-in-law, Ted. She shared it, with her brother-in-law Ted. She shared it with her husband David. David agreed with her immediately that that was most likely his brother that was the Unabomber, and together Linda and David went to the FBI, which ultimately led to Ted Kaczynski's arrest. This is another case we have on Ted Kaczynski in the Unabomber case. The items in here are either authentic from his cabin when he was captured and arrested, or they were used in the court trial for his conviction. Over the course of the 18 years, he continued to get more and more sophisticated with his bomb making. When he was arrested and the FBI searched his cabin, they found this bomb that had obviously yet to be detonated. They said it was the most sophisticated bomb to date, and had it been used, it would have caused the most destruction of any of the bombs he ever sent out. Of everything in this case, by far my favorite are the shoes right here. I think it just goes to show how smart Ted Kaczynski is. He was aware, as most of us are, many of us are, that when law enforcement are trying to figure out, look for evidence to solve a case, they're going to look for all types of evidence, whether that be fingerprint evidence or shoe track evidence. So he never wanted to leave behind his actual shoe imprint when he was planting a bomb. The Van shoes, the blue Van shoes, are his actual shoe size, and the shoe that he would wear. And he designed a shoe sole that was about a size and a half smaller than his actual shoe, with a completely different tread mark. He had those, he connected those new soles to his shoe soles so that when he went out to place a bomb, the tracks he was leaving behind did not match his actual shoe size. I find that just to be fascinating. And you can learn all about that case when you're here at our exhibition. You may recall April 19th, 1985, Timothy McVeigh rents a Ryder truck, fills it with explosives, goes and parks it in front of the Alfred Murray Federal Building in Oklahoma City. He parks the car, he walks away. At 9:02 a.m., all of the bombs in the truck explodes. The truck explodes itself. The explosion is so large that it doesn't just damage the federal building, it damages 300 surrounding buildings. 168 people died, including 19 children. The FBI agents are canvassing the area looking for evidence, and one of the things they find is this front axle of the truck. As they are looking at the front axle, they realize that it still has the vehicle's VIN number on it. From the VIN number, they were able to track it back to the Ryder rental company, and they were actually able to track it to the fact that Timothy McVeigh rented that truck, and that's how he was captured and ultimately arrested. In this case, some of the other items you see is the glass and rubble and building pieces that came down when the federal building came down. The case directly behind this, to me personally, is the case that has the most emotion in all of our galleries. In this case, are items that were discovered amongst the rubble of the damaged buildings from that explosion: a woman's shoes, a pager, a cell phone, and a pair of purple baby's mittens. The next case we're going to discuss that we have on display, you may recall because it's pretty recent, 2002. 10 people in the Washington, D.C. metro area were all shot and killed, seemingly at random. It was called the Beltway Sniper case. And as FBI agents, over 400 agents were assigned to the case. And as FBI agents were searching for clues and evidence and the killers, they were realizing that at each of the murders, notes were left behind, almost taunting the police to find them. Well, thankfully, those notes had fingerprint evidence on it, and due to that fingerprint evidence, the agents were able to capture and arrest John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boy Malvo for these murders. This is the actual 1990 Chevy Caprice that the two of them were driving around D.C. in and shooting those innocent people. If you come to the back of the vehicle, and I'm not sure how it's going to come across on your computer screen or your phone screen, but if you look at the license plate above the letter Z, you will hopefully see the hole cut out above the license plate. And the way in which they would shoot their victims is one would be behind the driver's seat. The other one would lay the back seats down the vehicle and then would lay their body across the trunk and the back seats with a rifle pointing out that hole. They would talk to each other via walkie-talkies, and that's how they were able to shoot their victims without the person knowing they were there. In this case, you'll see the gun and scope used to shoot through that hole. You'll also see some handguns that were found on them, the walkie-talkies they were using to communicate, the glove that they would use to plug the hole in the trunk whenever they weren't using the car for malicious behavior, and even some of the notes left behind at the scenes for the police. So again, this exhibition has over 300 artifacts. Cases range from the mafia and Bonnie and Clyde to cyber crimes, the Robert Kennedy assassination, the 3 cases we talked about today, and so much more. So this is just, again, a very small subset. Again, this is the first and most likely only time that all of these artifacts are ever going to be on display at the same time. So we really do encourage you to come out before it closes on February 27th, just about 6 weeks from now. You can learn more about the exhibit. You can pre-purchase tickets simply by going to reaganlibrary.com/FBI. Now, if you follow us, you know we always share some items from our museum store that fit the theme. Before we get there, I just want to remind you our next segment is answering your questions. So please put your questions in the comment section below, and I will answer them in just a few minutes. So our museum store sells items from representing the FBI exhibition. I'm only going to share one that's a duplicate from the August live from if you're watching it. And the reason why I'm sharing a duplicate is because of all the merchandise we've ever sold in our store that attaches to a special exhibition. This is by far my favorite. You can get your very own FBI jacket. Looks just like the ones they wear, real FBI agents, or when you're watching a TV FBI show, this is the kind of thing you see them wear. And then on the front it has the Reagan Library and exhibit name on it. I just love this jacket. They sell out. We're constantly selling out of sizes. People love them so much. So this is a great buy. Again, you can purchase all of our items from our store simply by going to reaganlibrary.com/store. Scroll down just a little bit to the featured items section, and everything I'm talking about is in that section. And everything we talk about you'll find there. Or for ease of shopping, you can go to our Amazon store, which is amazon.com/Ronald Reagan. Now, not everything we're talking about is on our Amazon store, but of course Amazon gives you one-stop clicking, and it has your credit card information. So if you find it easier to shop on Amazon, you can look for us there too. So in addition to the jacket, we have these great FBI collectible coins. Some of the most wanted FBI criminals, John Dillinger, Al Capone, Babyface Nelson, and Bonnie and Clyde. All 4, or I guess 5 if you say Bonnie and Clyde are 2 people, all 5 of these people are all talked about in our galleries. We have the actual car that Bonnie and Clyde were shot and killed in. We have guns and other items from Dillinger and Babyface Nelson and Al Capone. So just a really great collector's item of things we have in our exhibition. Now, if you joined us back in August, you might remember that we shared 4 plush dogs, and each dog was wearing a different type of FBI jacket. This time we're going to show you our plush teddy bears wearing FBI vests. The front of the vest on both of them says FBI, and the back is our exhibit logo. They're really soft and squishy. And then lastly, the last item I'm going to show you from our store, this is a self-curated exhibition. Our curatorial staff here at the Reagan Library put this exhibition together, and in doing so, they also put together an FBI catalog. Even if you don't come to the Reagan Library to see this exhibition, this is a great book to purchase. It tells the history and the story of the FBI from inception to today, talks about the cases that are in our exhibition with photos from the FBI and photos of our artifacts. It's a really great book on the history of the FBI, so I encourage you to get this one as well. So now we're going to go to your questions. Let's see if hopefully we have some questions in here, which would be great. Just give me a second, take a look. Again, it's not too late to ask your question. Just put them in the comment section. We appreciate all of you for watching. I'm scrolling through all of your names here, which is so great. Thank you. I don't... What was the DC sniper's motive? Nate is asking. You know, I actually am not sure. That's a great question. If I can find it, I'll go ahead and add it into the comment section later today. Not sure why they were doing what they were doing. It was a horrible, I think it was over a 10-month period that they were shooting and killing people, and I know people in the DC area were quite frightened when it was happening. I don't see any other questions, but I do appreciate you all tuning in. Reminder, we do these on the first Wednesday of every month, so we'll be back the first Wednesday in February. I just want to wrap up by saying, again, you can learn more about the FBI exhibit at fbi.com/FBI. But tied to this exhibition, we are so fortunate that on January 31st, the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, is coming here to the Reagan Library to discuss the issues and concerns that the FBI is dealing with today. It is a public event. You just have to purchase tickets, and tickets do have to be purchased by January 24th. So just a little over a week from now. Really simple to purchase tickets. Simply go to reaganlibrary.com/events and click on the event for Christopher Wray and purchase your tickets and come on out. So if you live locally, we highly encourage you to do that. You can tour the FBI exhibit and then go to the event and listen to him talk. Great way to learn even more about the FBI. So thank you so much for joining us. We know you have so many choices and that you choose to watch us here. We really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next month.
Discover the most complete collection of real artifacts ever on tour, spanning the top cases in American history, from the agency's inception to the modern-day fight against terrorism. See the Unabomber's original manifesto, portions of the plane that struck the World Trade Center, the car that Bonnie and Clyde were killed in, the actual raft from the infamous Alcatraz escape, and so much more. FBI, from Al Capone to Al Qaeda, extended by popular demand at the Reagan Library.